I'm still fearful of Emmett every time he has interactions with Douda. Not saying he's going to get shot on the spot or anything, but again, I've grown to really enjoy Emmett as my favorite character. And, you know, with just the history of dealing with Douda, I don't know how it's going to end. Like, I kind of fear that Emmett might die at some point in this season. Call it a bold prediction, but I don't know if Emmett makes it to the end of season 6, just because we're dealing with Douda, and Douda, you know, he is the most patient person, as we see. What's going on, folks? Another episode of Ryan Reviews Everything. We are talking about The Shaad, episode 2, and we definitely got a lot to get into it, so let's go. Well, I lied. Before we go, if you don't mind, if you're new to this channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. It's free. It takes like 2 seconds. I would truly appreciate it. And let's get into it, man. Yeah, man, I really like this episode. A lot to get into. I want to start by saying I feel like Douda is the perfect villain for The Shaad. And the actor he bodies that role. He's kind of that villain you love to hate. Dare I say, he kind of reminds me of what's the Game of Thrones character? The woman who was really hated. It's been a while. I'll put it on the screen, but it reminds me of that a little bit. It's like you know how Douda gets down. Most people fear Douda. I feel like the only people that don't fear Douda is Victor and Tracy. Only 2 people in the entire season or series that doesn't fear or feel the least bit intimidated by Douda. But at the same time, if you're ever in a bind or you're just trying to get a quick come up, you know where to go to, but it comes with a price. It's almost like making a deal with the devil. So that's always something that I feel like it weighs on people. And unfortunately for most people who do deal with him, it never really ends up that well. I feel like Tracy's charity organization was in jeopardy. Papa's father, who's a pastor, he went to jail for money laundering. It's just bad, you know. Victor was in some beef, if I'm not mistaken. You get the point, you know. It's always a risk dealing with Douda, but I feel like this episode clearly was focused on Douda. Kind of. The episode is literally called "More Douda, More Problems," and we kind of see that. You know, I'm still fearful of Emmett every time he has interactions with Douda. Not saying he's going to get shot on the spot or anything, but again, I've grown to really enjoy Emmett as my favorite character. And, you know, with just the history of dealing with Douda, I don't know how it's going to end. Like, I kind of fear that Emmett might die at some point in this season. Call it a bold prediction, but I don't know if Emmett makes it to the end of season 6, just because we're dealing with Douda, and Douda, you know, he is the most patient person, as we see. So I do fear that for Emmett. I did like the fact that we have Vic Mensa. He returned from prison. He's a changed, reformed man. I really feel like that speaks to, I guess, the message in the show, prison reform and so forth. He is trying to mend his relationship with Lene, his younger sister. I thought that was dope. I think the thing that really popped out the most in this episode for me, I really enjoyed the twist at the end of this episode. You know, we definitely see, you know, we see who Rob's mom is, and she wants the killer of her brother, which is Rob's uncle, found. Q. And in order to do that, she's willing to pay her son $100 grand. He's trying to do his own weed business thing with his old girl Tiff. I like that. I'm really interested to see the progression that they make in terms of doing this whole weed business. But it's kind of scary as well, because just like Emmett, Rob is already, you know, figuratively in bed, in bed with Douda in terms of the weed business. So that's going to be a sticky situation just to get out of in general. And now, I'm sure if he keeps asking around, he is going to find out that it's his own boss who ended up killing Q. So that's going to be awkward. A minor funny part, in my opinion. I mean, granted, it is a fictional show. But if I'm the bartender when Rob and Tiff meets with this organic weed grower guy, I'm going to be annoyed. It's like, why you got all these weed products on my bar and you're smoking at the bar? It definitely didn't look like a cigar bar. And it's like, dog, y'all got to get the hell out with all this weed business and products you got on my bar. But anyway, I think that'll be a cool venture for them. We also definitely see that despite the fact that Tracy is trying to manifest finding herself, manifest this single life and embracing single life and just taking time to herself, I think it's obvious at some point in the season, Vic will be the new love interest for Tracy. So that might be pretty cool. Once again, might be a problem for Douda, even though Tracy broke it off with him. So it's just a lot of stuff that really revolves around Douda. And also another person who I kind of fear will be without a father. His name escapes me, but the pastor, who is Big Papa's father, turned down Douda's, money laundering offer and all that type of stuff. And granted, he was like, yo, man, last time I did business with you, I ended up in jail for money laundering. Get out my church, this, that, and the third. So that ain't going to end well. And we already see that Bakari is conflicted. He ain't even want to go into church with that whole money laundering deal. And I thought it was a very sweet moment. Very quickly, but very sweet moment. Papa, Bakari, and the parents are having kind of like a slightly heated debate, that Papa kind of started. And when Bakari wanted to excuse himself, the father is like, nah, you stay here. You don't have to excuse yourself. You're part of this family too. You can tell that really meant a lot to Bakari. So you clearly see why Bakari is torn when it comes to working with Douda, but at the same time, he is unofficially adopted by Big Papa's family, So I can see how that could be a conflict of interest, clearly. And I ended with this, man. Speaking of Bakari, I did like how, she was trying to, warn Bakari, like, look, man, I've been where you at trying to live that fast life, and it got me locked up watching my life go by. I'm trying to warn you. You need stop working with Douda, this and the third. I thought that was dope because it's like, it's almost like the past and the possible future are like, at this restaurant looking at each other face to face. Like, you're going to, almost like she trying to warn him, look, you're going to end up like me if you keep living this life you're living. And of course, being blinded by the money and stuff like that. Bakari's just like, look, man, I can help you out if you need money, man. I got you if you want to start your, vintage store business. Just let me sponsor you or invest in you, whatever the case is. And I think that's another thing that really isn't talked about as much. Yes, Bakari does have a roof over his head thanks to Big Papa and family. But other than that, it's like, other than Big Papa and family, it's like, where was everybody else when I was looking for work? Like he doesn't want to get a modest job. Therefore, Douda comes in, So let me know what you thought about this episode, man. I thought this was really good. I'm glad the Shy is back. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I might be dead wrong, but I think there is going to be a season 7. But I'm looking forward to see what else transpire with this current season. Love it or hate it, folks. That's my review. Peace.